Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's been a few weeks. It has. It has been a couple of weeks. Colonoscopy last Monday. Woo-hoo. But they're definitely something that you've got to keep up because you just never know what's on the inside. I remember to say hello and hashtag replay because I can't always see who's actually online with me, and it's always nice to know who's there listening. So this morning I want to talk, Jessica. Hello, good morning, Jessica. This morning I want to talk to you about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. So here's the thing. We as human beings don't really like being pushed outside that comfort zone. A lot of us don't. There are a very small portion of people that absolutely love that feeling of can be stress, anxiety, things like, let's take our mind back to when we were doing something brand new, like a new job, something like that. So this feeling that we get internally, this uncomfortable feeling when we're doing something new. And the reason that we're getting that is because you're changing. Yeah? You're doing something new, and that means your body has to evolve and change along with that so that you can actually achieve what it is, whatever it is you're trying to learn or do. Good morning, Gwen. Good morning, Helen. Good morning, Emma, Christine. Good morning, sister. Morning, Hayes. So yeah, when we understand that to make lasting change within ourselves, so a lot of the stuff that I've talked to you about is how can we actually change that internal dialogue up here to become the person that we really want to be, that person that has control over the stress, anxiety, and depression all the time, yeah, because it can be done. So anyway, sometimes that feeling that we get is due to maybe a fear of failure. It actually could also be a fear of succeeding, believe it or not. What will other people say? What will other people think? All of these things can be going around unconsciously, not necessarily consciously, but unconsciously in that fight, fright, and freeze part of the brain there. Yeah? So that feeling that we get in the gut, and good morning, Layla, when you've started a new job is probably a really good one. You might be a bit shaky, so we could be getting a little bit shaky. Your mind won't work very well, and you get that feeling in the pit of your gut. Yep, we've all been there. We've all felt that. If we do not push through that feeling, we do not learn. We do not change. Now, the reason I wanted to bring up, good morning, Del, the job is because you can all relate to that. That's something we've all had a job, and that first day, that first feeling of being so uncomfortable in your body and in your environment, everything makes you feel uncomfortable, stressed, and anxious. The same goes for when we're trying to change our mind, the way our mind works on that day-to-day basis. Gaining control of those thought processes that we're still going down. Good morning, Leslie. If we are not uncomfortable, we're not growing. And if we're not growing, we're not changing. And it's important that you stop and let that settle and sit with you, because a lot of us still struggle with that internal dialogue. Yeah, we certainly do. So the only way to become comfortable with these new feelings and make those lasting changes is to maybe reframe the feeling that you're getting when you're trying to make those changes. And you know when you're trying to make those changes because you're doing certain things to learn and grow, whether it be a new job or learning a new skill or whatever it is. Taking this control back of this is a new skill and a new tool. that you need to learn if you want to make those lasting changes. Okay. Now, I just want to make sure that I keep on track here. Something I mentioned before, you can have the best diet in the world. So the food that you're putting in your mouth can be the best food that you could possibly eat. You could be drinking enough water, getting enough exercise. Good morning, Olga. So you could be doing all of those things, getting the right amount of sleep. However, and this is really important, you can be doing all of those things wonderfully, looking after yourself to the nth degree. However, the most important thing is if you are still living your life in stress, anxiety and depression and persistent pain. Remember, pain can be emotional or it can be physical. Sometimes your emotional pain will present as something, a physical pain, because that's the way our body works. So when we know that to change that, we're going to have that uncomfortable feeling. So what about if we reframed what that feeling meant? So when you get that churning, that little churn in the gut, and you might get a little bit shaky, go back to your breath. So if you go back to your breath, when you get that feeling in your gut, you start to take in that full breath in and extend your exhalation. Remember what I've discussed before. We want to gain control of your autonomic nervous system and calm it back down and get back into our state of homeostasis. That's when all the systems in your body all align together to make everything work fluidly and beautifully. So if you stop, get the feeling, but reframe what you're feeling. Instead of thinking, oh, I'm so nervous, think about it as excitement. I'm so excited to be stepping forward to make these changes. If you can reframe what you're thinking in that moment, that is when we can really start to make a massive difference to what's going on in here. That way, you can put a brake on where your mind is going into that state of fight and fright. I can't, this is too hard, I feel uncomfortable, this is making me feel sick, because they're generally all the thoughts that go on when you've got all of this going on in your gut. And what do? You want to run away from that feeling. You want to run away from that feeling. So that stops you. Again, it stops you from taking those steps forward again, because you're going, oh, I don't want to feel that. Reframe the feeling. I'm talking to myself here as much as I'm talking to you. We all do this. We all do it, because no one likes to feel uncomfortable. But we have to get outside our comfort zone to make those lasting changes, no matter what it is, whether it's losing weight, whether you may, as I've discussed in previous ones, you may have become so addicted to your feelings of stress that you don't fully feel alive unless you're feeling those, because they're normal to you. Those feelings have become so normal to you, they can be your new comfortable. But you know that's not where you want to be. So again, you have to get a different type of uncomfortable to then be comfortable in your body and in your mind all the time. So that you know you're making all of these decisions every day and you know you're moving in the right direction. But it's got to start somewhere. It has to start with you and the way that you're thinking, stopping, acknowledging what it is that's going on. Good morning, Lorraine. Oh, morning, Lorraine. We have to speak. We haven't spoken in a long time. Okay. See, here's the thing. We're all born with a set of genes. We all know that. We're all born with a set of genes. And we think that those genes tell us exactly how we're going to be. But most of you probably would have heard of something called gene expression. So we're born with these genes. Good morning, Tammy. But depending on what you do, how you think, the way you live your life, will depend on how those genes then get expressed. Yeah? So they say it's all down to the genes. Well, yes, it is, but it depends on what you do, how you think, how you move. All of these things that keep us healthy, but it's mainly what we're doing with this grey matter up here and how that then connects to the body. So depending on what you do, how you do it, will depend on how those genes are turned on and off. We have the ability to turn certain genes on and off. Yeah? People wonder why can't I lose weight? Why can't I do this? Because you are following a certain pattern in your life that is expressing your genes in a certain manner, which means your body is going to work in that manner. That makes sense. So yes, we can, good morning Sandy, we can change so many things within the body when we understand how it works. So I didn't understand until, I guess, relatively recently, in the last few years, how we think, how we feel, how we act, how we move changes the way that our genes are then expressed, and whether we end up with X, Y, Z later down the track, some form of disorder or disease. Absolutely. What you do and how you think and how you feel on that daily basis has a massive effect. So your genes are tools of transformation. When you put your body into that state of homeostasis with doing proper breath work. Breathing dysfunctionally is, as we know from all the previous little guides that I've put through, and if you haven't read all the guides, go through and read them. You will all pick up bits and pieces that are relevant to each and every one of you, things that you have not thought of or maybe that you didn't know. Remember, knowledge is power. I'm empowering you with knowledge so that you get a better understanding of what you're doing to yourself to become the person that you are on a daily basis. Yeah, okay. Those of us that struggle with change are going to struggle with those uncomfortable feelings. Of course they are. You're going to struggle, but know that you are. And like I said, maybe reframe that feeling. This feeling that I've got is a feeling of excitement of changing my future. Maybe if you reframe the way that feels, that uncomfortable feeling that you feel, yeah? Maybe just changing that one little thing, go, okay, now I'm on the road to change. And get excited about that. Reframing our thoughts. And we've done quite a bit on reframing in the past as well. If you can't put your body into what it knows as its state of safety, okay, we all, our bodies, our brains, every cell in your body is chasing the state of safety. When we feel safe at that cellular level, so many things within the body will start to relax and allow you to make those changes. So remember, if you're struggling, that's why I'm here. Whether I take you through a 10-week course or whether we have a few sessions so that I can actually help you get this back on track, because it takes time. And we need skills and tools. You can't just think, right, today I'm going to change. And then you think, well, I'm not quite sure how. How do I do this? Step by step. How do I do this step by step? So first we need to find our safety state, and then we need to make changes in small increments. Yeah? Little tiny increments. I think we look at our problems as a whole, this great big bunch of things that it's all melded together. Things from family and finances and home and work, and all of these things feed into this funnel. And then you go and think about all these different things that you need to change, and it becomes so overwhelming. I know it does. So we need to look at one thing at a time. Or actually we just need to look at ourselves and the way that we think and the way we react to things as well. Absolutely. And that's why I put this program together, to help us move out of where we're at so that you feel you have that control that you've always wanted within yourself. Okay. What I'd like you to do, once I post this online, I will put a a blurb on there as well. So it would be good if you go back and have a look at that. I'll also pop a link in there just in case you want to have a 15-minute chat with me. I'll pop my booking link in there as well, just in case you do want to have a chat about yourself and the situation that you're in and maybe where you're struggling and how I might be able to help you with that. Okay. So doesn't it make sense to be uncomfortable for a little bit of time, because in the scheme of things, that's what you're talking about. Making yourself uncomfortable for a very small period of time to make those lasting changes that are going to make the difference for you and your family and your friends and everybody else around you. But most importantly, you. You are the most important person in your life and in your world. Yeah. But as women, we tend to put ourselves last all the time. I bet you, all of you, even when you cook meals, you take the bit that doesn't look the best. You take the bit, you give everyone else the best, and you take the worst for yourself. We all do that. Yeah, oh, that bit's broken, that bit doesn't look so, oh, I will have that bit. And it's time to put yourself first. I bet you some of you will put the food on the plate and you'll feel guilty because you've given yourself the better piece. Stop it. Stop it, I say. All right. So next week we're going to talk about, are we doing life backwards? Which will be actually a very interesting topic of discussion. Are we doing life backwards? I think sometimes we are. So again, reach out if you want to have a chat with me. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description wherever you're going to watch this, whether you're on my A New Way Out page or under Leslie French. You have a fantastic day, everybody. If you haven't watched all the guides and you're sitting there and you're struggling, please go back under the guides section on A New Way Out. If you're not a member of A New Way Out, all you've got to do is press that link and I'll let you in. Maybe I might let you in. All right, my beautiful people. Some of you I will see very shortly in class, in our live classes here in Perth. But please, hashtag replay if you watch this after the event, and feedback. Feedback. How is what I'm sharing, how is that changing? How is that helping you? Because guess what? I'd really, really love to know. All right. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and I'll see you next Monday. We're back on every Monday unless it's a public holiday. So I'll see all of you soon. Reach out. Bye, everyone.